Hey, Rob, right down here to your left. Obviously, a big fight week again. These are nothing new to you at this point, but this one does seem crucial given how the last fight went and stuff. Do you feel like this has kind of got a big bearing on the future from here, this matchup?
Probably not as much as you think it does, right? Every fight to me is do or die. So that's the only reason why losing sucks so much, right? So, but we looked at a lot of things in the last prep, in the last fight, and the way I felt in the fight, some mentality surrounding it, and we made adjustments. And they're going to pay dividends on Saturday.
Yeah, you've obviously experienced defeat before and setbacks, and you've always been able to kind of recalibrate. But as you kind of just explained there, you looked into the things. Was there stuff that you were maybe overlooking and feeling like, hey, this seemed like it was right until it was proven wrong?
Not really. It's it's one of those things where everything in hindsight's 20/20. So there were some things that were suboptimal in the last camp. There were some obstacles that we had to work with and work around. And at the end of the day, the result is what it was. And it wasn't the result we were after. So what we did was we adjusted. We made some changes. We threw ourselves straight back into the gym. And here I am, fight week once again.
Yeah, and Paulo's here as well. We saw him a couple hours ago at this point. Like, is it a little bit of a sigh of relief knowing that he made it in town and it seems like everything is good?
I was never worried, to be honest. But he's here, I'm here, we're fighting.
Yeah, and how do you think this plays out? I mean, you've obviously had multiple opportunities to think about it. I don't know if the game plan or the approach has evolved over time, but as you go in here, like, what do you kind of make of him and assess this matchup?
He's a great fighter. He's been in the conversation of the top 10 forever. Like, he's a good fighter. He's a power puncher. He pushes forward. He likes controlling and dictating the fight through that way. But I don't think he's encountered anyone like me. I don't think anyone has until they come up against me. And, mate, I've done everything I've ticked every box. I've crossed every T. I've dotted every I in the last few months leading up to this fight. So I'm going into this fight just cocked and ready.
Yeah, and obviously it's got a lot of stakes too. I mean, I think a middleweight fight has headlined every card so far this year, and now you guys are the co-main event, a lot of important results and stuff. Where do you think this factors into, I guess, the overall hierarchy of the middleweight division?
The middleweight division's moving. It's moving a lot. There's a lot of fluidity in it, and it's rife with opportunity. Winning opens doors. More so now than ever.
Do you have any theories of why in these past few fights no one's been able to defend that belt? It's been 4 new champions in the past 4 middleweight title fights.
Mate, fighting's hard. And I think it depends who shows up on the night. Honestly, it was like that with the Sean and Dricus. It was like that with Sean and Izzy. It just is what it is.
Who would be a more important rematch to get back for you at this point, Dricus or Izzy, do you think?
Dricus is a sore spot for me because I didn't turn up, I didn't perform, and it's important for me to run that back.
Do you think it's a good idea for him to make a quick turnaround for UFC 300 like they seemingly want to do with him and maybe Izzy or Hamzat?
He can do whatever he wants. What do I care?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you want him to still be the guy on top when you fight for that belt again.
Mate, I'll get to him. It's fine.
Perfect. Thanks, Rob.
Rob over here. If the UFC does go down that route for UFC 300 with Dricus and potentially Izzy, how do you see that fight going?
Mate, who can say? No one saw Sean beating Izzy, right? So, anything could happen.
And a big win for you over Paulo Costa would be the perfect start for you in 2024. So what are your goals to have done by the end of this year?
I want to beat Costa. That's on the to-do list right now, and that's as far as my calendar goes.
And I know you've mentioned on Embedded and everything that you're a big video game guy. So my question to you in regards to this is, are there any video games that are unreleased or not released yet that you're looking forward to playing with your family and your kids?
Dragon's Dogma 2. I am frothing on it. And mate, it comes out in March. So that is perfect.
Awesome. Good little post-fight treat for you then if that happens. But obviously Australian MMA has grown exponentially throughout the years. What do you think needs to happen for Australia to kind of shift gears into a higher level in terms of MMA and the continuous growth of the sport out there?
Can you say where? Sorry.
Like, what do you think needs to happen for the Australian MMA scene to keep growing more than what it already is?
Mate, have you seen the trajectory of Australian mixed martial arts? Like it is growing at a rate. It's got to be one of the fastest growing countries at the moment for mixed martial arts. I think it's going. You know what I mean? I don't think there's anything that needs to be done because, like at home, it seems like an MMA gym is popping up on every corner just about, and we're having more and more MMA New Zealand athletes come out of the area. So, mate, whatever we're doing, keep doing it.
And fellow Australian Volkanovski's headlining this card. So how do you see his fight going?
Mate, I understand Topuria's like he's a demon in the division. You know, he's a nightmare for a lot of people. But I think it'd be very hard to bet against Volk. Like Volk's probably the best featherweight to ever do it. He's sensational. If anyone's gonna back up, it's gonna be him.
Thank you.
Rob, Paulo was in here earlier and he was saying that despite the fact he hasn't fought, he's had like a couple of camps right before the fight fell apart, and so he's improved a lot as a fighter. But do you think you kind of need to have those fights in between camps to be able to put what you've been working on into practice? Because otherwise, if you go in there, could you just revert to type if you haven't been using them in live situations?
100%. It's like a sprinter learning how to sprint by reading. Can't practice that. You need to... You need to get in there. You need to test the waters. You need to see what happens. Like, as much as I hate the way the fight played out with Dricus, I learnt a lot from it. I remember the feelings I had in there. So now I know what I need to make sure not to happen again.
Was that a unique experience, the Dricus fight? Had you ever experienced something similar to that previously and you sort of thought, oh, I recognise this? Or was it just completely like, oh, shit, I'm not firing when I should be and so on?
It was different. I'll leave it at that. Wasn't fun.
You've mentioned a couple of times in the build-up to this that you're trying to bring the beast back and you're going in there to hurt Paulo, not just beat him. How does that look in training? What exactly do you need to do practically to bring the beast out and be more aggressive?
I'll also address, I think people are misunderstanding. It's not personal. There's nothing personal. Like, we're in the fight game. Like, I'm trying to hurt him as a means to victory. And, you know, respectfully, I'm sure he's trying to do the same thing. It's just one of those things where I don't want to just win. You know, I want to finish him. I want to get in there and I want to finish him. I want to put all the work that I've spent months doing and grinding and bleeding and sweating for to action. And I think that is how I will get satisfaction.
Is that something you can train specifically, aggression? You can just train that in the way you hit pads and the way you spar, or how do you train?
Yeah, I think it's a mentality. I do. I think it is the way you approach training for the months out of a fight. Every time I went to the gym, I was trying to win everything. I was trying to win my pad sessions. I was trying to win my matches, my rolls, my rounds, my spars, everything. Everything I wanted to win. I wanted to turn into a dogfight. I wanted to, give everything I had. And I do think that bleeds over.
Is that just something like the Dricus fight almost can happen and reignite your passion for the sport and passion for training, whereas if you've been doing it and successful for so long, you can almost go up and go to work as opposed to go in there and try and win.
Mate, complacency is a toxin. You know, it creeps up on you. You don't realise it's there until it is. And as much as I hate the way it happened, it was kind of the kick up the arse I needed, right? Cool beans. Peace. Thanks, guys.